Hi, I'm Margie from Marjorie's Candy, and today we're going to make strawberry shortcake. This is Valentine's Day, and I'm going to show you how to make the whipped cream and how to make the strawberries with a little bit of sugar. Then we also have a fudge sauce that I have another video on YouTube for, and I'm also going to show you how to do the biscuits. Okay? So we're going to get started. What I have here are the strawberries, and these are fresh strawberries, and I've washed them, and I put them out on a paper towel to dry, and I'm going to just cut the little tops off, and I'm going to do that with all of them. And then I'm going to take a bowl, and I'll be cutting them up into not too small pieces, okay? And I'm just going to add some sugar to them. Adding sugar will help to bring the juices out. So you're just going to add, to even a few little strawberries like that. You just want to, that would be plenty, because then you're going to stir them and just a coat. And after a couple of hours, the juices will come out of the strawberries. But I'm going to actually add a lot more strawberries here and a little more sugar. But what I'm showing you is how you just macerate the strawberries by bringing the juices out by sprinkling some sugar over some sliced strawberries. Okay, so I'll be back to show you more about the strawberry shortcake. Okay, so I've cut up a few more strawberries. I left a few plain. And so I'm just going to add a little bit more sugar. So you just want to sprinkle a little bit over it. You don't need a lot. You're not really trying to sweeten them up so much as bring the juices out and soften the strawberries up. It might even give a little bit of a syrup. Now I'm making whipped cream using fresh whipped cream. This is heavy cream. You can always use whipping cream as well, but I have heavy cream, which really does work just fine. And it's best to start with your bowl. I have a bowl here in the freezer, and it's always best to start with a nice cool bowl. Give this a little shake so anything on the bottom of your container will come up, and then you can pour that in directly into your bowl. You're not going to start with anything but just the cream and the whip of your mixer. I will start it on low and slowly bring it up to high. It will take a few minutes, but not very long. You want to watch it. Then we're going to add some powdered sugar to stand up better. It's already getting a little thick. I also have some pure vanilla here. We'll add that toward the end. Getting a little bit thick. Alright, you want to watch out because it'll get thick pretty quick, and you don't see already. See that? So I'm just going to add a little bit of sugar. Sugar is actually to taste. I'm just going to just sprinkle a little bit on, probably a couple of tablespoons, and then a teeny bit of vanilla. Vanilla will change the color. If you don't want it, this is about a half a teaspoon of vanilla, maybe 3/4 of a teaspoon. So now I'm going to go ahead and turn it on, just a little longer. Beautiful. Okay, that's very nice. And because we used the powdered sugar, it's going to help to be a little bit more stable. It'll hold up longer. Okay, so we're just going to refrigerate this as well. Better to have it a little bit too soft than too hard, because then you're going to start to make butter, and that's something I do with the cream sometimes, so I have to be careful not to overdo it. You just see that's going to be real pretty. And we'll refrigerate that also, and that's your whipped cream. Now this is what we need to make the biscuits. We have salt, baking powder, this is double-acting baking powder, a little sugar, and shortening, and milk, and flour. Now I'm going to show you how much, okay? There's 2 cups of flour here. I just dumped it onto my This is a nice little, this is a pastry for pies, to cut the ingredients into pies. So you have 2 cups of flour, you have 1 teaspoon of salt, and you have a little bit of, I showed you a little bit of a heaping tablespoon of baking powder. And then I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of salt because I'm making, sugar, because I'm making these for strawberry shortcake. You may not want to do that if you're just having this with eggs in the morning. Okay, so give that a stir in. And then we're going to add, so now you add the shortening. This is just plain shortening. Now, if you want, you can use butter, softened butter, but if you do use softened butter, you're going to want to cut back a little bit on the salt, because there's no salt in shortening. You might just want to cut it back a half as much, not even. Okay, so you're going to cut that in so it looks a little bit, you know, broken up in there, and then we're going to add the milk. There's 3/4 of a cup of milk. This is 2%, but it's nice if you use whole milk as well. Okay, if you're making a scone, you'd be using cream. So I'm going to add a little bit at a time here. So you're going to stir that in. I didn't add it all at one time. But if you're going to roll it out, you're not going to use quite as much. You just want to moisten it really quick. You don't want to beat it up too hard. It toughens the dough. Okay? That's even enough. If you want a drop biscuit, then you're going to want to add a little bit more milk. And because it's Valentine's Day, I'm going to use a heart to cut out my shortbreads. Okay, so I'm just going to put the dough out. So you don't want to do too much with the dough. You want to just bring it together very gently. Press it out. And we also don't want these to be really fat. Like if you're going to have them for breakfast, you might want a really high biscuit. Okay? You can really just do it by hand. I have a rolling pin. I could roll it out, but it's not even necessary to do that. Okay? And sometimes when I'm rolling things out, especially if it's sweet, you can add a little bit of sugar to your table. Just adds a little bit more sweetness to the dough. Okay, now they're going to raise, or they might even come up half as much again. So I'm just going to cut out some hearts. And we can pull that together again also and do it again. But you don't want to knead it too much. Okay, so we can roll some more of those. There we go. Okay, that's enough. I think I'm just going to cut these, make a few little squares, because I don't want to keep rolling it together. You can just cut it with a knife and have some little biscuits. That's usually what I do for breakfast. Now I have a tray here that has a little piece of parchment paper on. I'll put the smaller ones in the center, bigger ones on the outside. Okay. And then you can brush these with a little bit of butter, which I'm not going to do, but you can brush them with a little bit of butter. Maybe I'll do that. So I went ahead and I melted some butter. I'm just going to put some on each one of my little biscuits. And you know what? I'm going to let these sit for a few minutes, maybe 10 minutes before I even put them in the oven, because double-acting baking powder will rise twice. Once with the liquid that's in, and now I'm sprinkling just a teeny bit of sugar just because I'm a little over the top. You can use cinnamon sugar, use brown sugar, anything you want. Okay, but I'm going to let them sit because, like I said, the double-acting baking powder will first react once with the milk that's in there, and then it will react again to let it rise in the oven. So I'm going to let it sit for 10 minutes and then we'll put it in. Okay, so that's my timer for 10 minutes. And so we'll go ahead. Now when you're putting a piece of something in the oven with a piece of parchment, what you want to do is hold the parchment down with your thumb. Okay, now you see I have the rack in the center of the oven. If you don't hold your thumb down on the parchment, the things might slide right off the tray. So we're going to put the timer on for 10 minutes to start, and then we'll take a look at them. So they were actually in for 10 minutes, and then they were not done. So I put them in for another 5, and I'm going to take them out now because they're starting to get a little bit golden brown on the top, but they are starting to get dark on the bottom, and I think that they're fine because they're springing back. So I'm just going to let them cool. All right, and you don't want to put them together when they're too hot, so we'll let them cool and we'll get ready to put them together as they cool, another 10 minutes or so. We're all ready to put the strawberry shortcake together. You want to work with the biscuits that you don't want them to be ice cold because ice cold biscuits are not really that great. But carefully cut it in half because you want to maintain the shape of the heart. Okay, we'll save the top for when we're all done for decoration. Okay, so we're going to put, this is the fresh whipped cream. Put a little whipped cream down. These are the strawberries that we added a little bit of sugar to them, so they have a teeny bit of syrup and they're just a little bit sweet. We'll put some strawberries on there, let some fall on the plate. Okay, and we'll add some more whipped cream. Add a few more strawberries. There's really no right or wrong way to do this. Okay. Try to get some on the very top. And you can have your little heart. So that is strawberry shortcake, and I actually also have some fudge sauce that, of course, it always is nice to have a little bit of chocolate, especially for Valentine's Day. So you can dip. This is a fudge sauce, and I have this recipe on the YouTube channel. So you can dip a strawberry in some fudge sauce, and you can set it on the side, just so it looks nice and pretty. So enjoy that, and I will see you again on another video.